Hi, I'm Shlomi Noach, and this is a second sneak preview of rdebug, a pure SQL server-side debugger and debugging API for MySQL. rdebug is developed as part of Common Schema, an open-source framework for MySQL administration. In this part, I wish to present such features as step over, step in, step out, watching the call stack, setting not yet conditional breakpoints, and more. We will debug and use two stored procedures, utilizing the sample world database of countries and cities. Our first procedure, analyze continents, will iterate through each continent using a server-side cursor. We will open, iterate through, and fetch values from. Let's present a quick demonstration of analyze continents. We begin our debugging process by spawning two connections, the worker and the debugger. I will first need to compile the two routines with debug code. There will actually be code injected into those routines, which we will examine later on. To start the process of debugging itself, we need to attach the debugger to the worker by diagnosing the connection ID of the worker. We will also set some verbose mode such that we will see some cool stuff on the screen. And we are ready to start debugging. So let's begin with a simple step over. The step over hangs because it's expecting something to happen. So let's execute analyze continents, and there we have our first dump of data in our first step. So what we see here is the call stack. We're now executing the analyze continent routine, and we have the local variables used in analyze continents along with their current values. And then we have the next statement to be executed. So we're about to open continents cursor. Let's do another step and yet another. And please note that the next statement to execute is the fetch into current continent. Let's look at the value of current continent over the next step. There we have it. We have Asia. Let's step some more times. Oh, there. I've just executed the analyze continent cities, our secondary routine, and I see that something has been printed to the screen as a result set. A couple more. I'm actually interested in looking what goes on in analyze content cities. We've stepped over it until now, so let's step into this routine at this stage. Okay, and we have now a more sophisticated stack trace. We have another routine in our stack trace and some new variables which are visible only in this routine, the current continent local variable, and a couple user-defined variables. They are visible outside the routine, but they're just being used within the analyze continent cities routine, so we get to see them here. A little more steps, and there we have it. The next statement to execute is the one that prints out these values. Let's see how that works out. Alright, okay, I think I got the hang of it, so let's step out of the routine. Good, we're back at analyze continents. We can step over a couple more times, or we can just decide that we're through with debugging, so let's step out of the analyze continents procedure. And since this is the topmost procedure, we're just terminating the debugging process and letting the analyze continents routine execute to its full extent. How about setting a specific breakpoint? Let's take a look at our routine. I'm now presenting a simplified view of the code injected into the routine, and in particular I'm showing off the numbers, the breakpoints and their IDs per statement. So we have breakpoint ID 80, 86, 98, etc. And what I'm going to do is to enable the breakpoint at this line such that I don't need to step over again and again only to reach this line of code. So we're going to start a new debugging process, and I will start and attach the debugger. We're now with a different connection ID, and I'm going to set a breakpoint for analyze continents at breakpoint ID 127, this row. And now, instead of stepping, I'm going to ask rdebug to just run. It hangs, it waits on my operation, so I'm going to call analyze continents. And there we have it. We get to hang at the next breakpoint at call analyze continent cities. Let's run again, and we see that it runs per iteration. It stops at the correct breakpoints. At this stage, I can step into if I like, and I can step out if I like, or I can continue running to the next breakpoint. The code is not yet released, but will be shortly under an open source license. That's all for now. Thank you for watching.